Hi everybody, I'm Kelly Mataure. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here with Chonks.
Hi everybody.
This is going to be a different style video that we're doing for you today. So we actually had a topic that we wanted to discuss. So this is going to be a podcast type of vibe, but we just have the video here for those of you who want something to look at. But this is going to be more of a discussion. So if you wanna put on some earphones and listen to this while you're going about your business, that's fine as well. But yeah, we're basically just doing a video where we're going to be talking and sharing a challenge that we've gone through recently and a couple of times before, I think, as well. Just to be vulnerable with you guys as well, to maybe help some couples out there who might be going through a similar thing. So before we get into the actual topic, as you can see, we're doing story time with the kids. So this is a date night that we're doing here. But you know, life the way it is, we do have kids. So it usually starts with us putting the kids to bed. So they sleep at around 7. And then our date night will begin from there. So basically that's why you're seeing kids in the date night video.
And I'm not sleeping. It looks like I'm sleeping, but I'm not. I think I actually move off at some point, but not sleeping. I think we'd actually just come from playing Snakes and Ladders with Mali before he went over to the bed to read stories.
Yeah.
So yes, I wasn't sleeping. I'm awake. I don't know why it looks like I'm sleeping.
Yeah,
But anyway,
no,
that's
it's
fine.
creepy. Oh, and also, it's very hard reading a book with Aya because she insists on doing the reading herself. She cannot read, by the way, but she insists on being the one to read the book. So, yeah. But anyway, let's get into the topic for tonight. So, basically, we went through a phase, and I think we've been through this phase a number of times.
Yeah, but it's good to always reflect on it and kind of see or actually recognize that it's something that can happen, so that you then know how to navigate around it if you ever get into that kind of funk. You know what I mean?
So basically, just to be vulnerable with you guys, we went through a bit of a dry spell in terms of our physical intimacy. So we went through a dry spell where, also just life. You're busy, you've got the kids, between work, the kids, everything that we're going through. We realized that it had been some time before it had been some time since we were on fire in terms of sex or physical intimacy. And it wasn't even that long. I think how long did we go for?
Without probably a few weeks.
Do you think it was a couple of weeks?
Well, yeah, it was at least, I think, probably about 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks. So I mean, for some that might be nothing. For others, that's a really, really long time. But for us, we realized, okay, we're in a space, and it's not a good thing, because the longer you go with that gap, the harder it is to come back from that. So now we were in this weird patch where, we're not really having sex. And apologies to any family members who might be watching this video. Look, just a heads up. This is going to get a little bit detailed. So if this is going to make you uncomfortable, just click out of the video. But we'd gone a long time, and I think as a result, so the physical intimacy had dropped. And then now in terms of the emotional intimacy as well, we weren't going on date nights, we weren't doing any stuff, just the two of us. We weren't spending active time together, active quality time. So there's a difference between being around each other all the time and spending active quality time together, where you actually just sit and you just talk, just the two of you. And I think one of the things that triggered it for me, where I realized, okay, we're having a little bit of a gap. We had a Valentine's thing some time back. And ironically, I'd come up with a list of conversation starters, and I picked up one of them, and it was like, and one of the questions was, when was the last time we laughed together, genuinely? And I couldn't remember. Not to say we haven't been laughing together and we haven't been having a good time, but just it wasn't in recent times that I could remember where it was top of my mind. So to me, I felt the gap in terms of connecting emotionally and things like that. So I felt like we were kind of going into admin mode, okay, the kids need this, we need to do this, okay, we need to, running errands, running admin, without the spark and without the romance. Oh, guys, I'm putting together a cheese board, by the way. Okay, sorry, brief intermission. So we take turns planning the date night. So it was my turn. And then I wish I could take credit for this, but the person who actually gave me this idea was one of my friends, Grace, from work. She gave me this brilliant idea to put together a cheese board because I love like little snacks and stuff like that. So this is all her idea. So shout out to Grace. Thank you, Grace. This is a brilliant idea.
And I'm in the background bringing stuff in. Yeah, the ingredients also bought.
Yeah. Shout out to the KFC wings. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, see, that's the problem. Well, okay. Anyway, I was feeling a bit of a gap emotionally, and because I wasn't feeling satisfied emotionally in terms of my love languages being like quality time and being together, obviously then the physical side fell off. Maybe you can say your perspective.
For me, it's a bit different, I guess. Well, I mean, you obviously realize how someone feels when they communicate that, but I think for me, it almost, I think when you look back on it, you realize that it's kind of going through the motions of everyday life and routine and all that, and you kind of think that because you are maybe not arguing or whatever, and everything's just is okay, that physical intimacy is just a given, maybe, or it should just happen because you're not disagreeing.
There's nothing
wrong, yeah, basically. But I think you then realize that it's important to feed the other aspects of your relationship to make sure that physical intimacy, A, happens, B, that it's enjoyable, I think. Because I think if you just assume it's a given, okay, you've been married for so long, it's just, it's part and parcel. I think you still need that build up and that excitement around being intimate with one another. So whatever that looks like, if it's more quality time together, if it's gifts, if it's whatever it might be, I think it varies from couple to couple. I think for you, because you've communicated it or communicated that quality time is important, that for me, I can't or I shouldn't assume that us spending time together, an evening together, is quality time, unless we're kind of defining it as time that we are setting aside, apart for that. Because we can be sitting, phones down, whatever, talking. But again, even the level or the type of conversation could be more about, again, admin, the kids, the work, all the stuff that we generally talk about anyway. Whereas I think even when we had this date night, it was very different because, yes, of course, phones were down and everything, but I think even the conversation was different. It wasn't.
I think we're more intentional about the conversation.
So I think that's my take on it, I think.
And I mean, look, sometimes it can get really hard. Like you'll sit and be like, okay, like we make rules like, okay, no talking about like kids, no talking about admin stuff, like let's just have conversations. And then sometimes you genuinely don't know what to talk about. And it happens. So maybe if you guys want, I can share with you like those conversation starters that I came up with, because it really, really helped. One thing we're always teaching in premarital counseling is that you always have to be updating yourself on the software of your spouse, because they're always changing. You can't assume they're the same person year in and year out. Like they're constantly changing. And if you're not intentional about trying to keep up to date with them, that's how you have those couples who are divorcing after like what, 20, 25, 30, 40 years, because now kids have moved out of the house and they realize they actually didn't know each other.
So with the cheese board, honestly, like I really think, and we'll get into the topic of different cheeses, because I think that's also important to highlight, what you actually put onto these things.
My gosh,
and what
this cheese was terrible.
Yeah, this particular cheese.
It was awful. We got brie and we did not enjoy. Anyway, back to the topic.
So I think with any relationship, especially now, we're talking more married from a marriage perspective. I think we, over the years, have maybe found that, you have those cycles, those highs and lows when it comes to, just connecting with each other. And I think it depends on the season that you're in. And for me, I think this particular year has been one where it's a lot of trying to rediscover myself. And I think because it's a milestone year for me, in terms of the birthday and all that.
How old are you turning?
I'm turning 40.
Yay.
40. Guys, I hope I don't look it. I hope I look younger. No, but yeah, jokes aside, I think, so for me, this year I've wanted it to be a year of excellence. I've called it my year of excellence. And excellence in all aspects of my life. So what that looks like is in marriage, in parenting, in career, in community service, in church service, all of that. But obviously, for purposes of what we're discussing now, what does excellence look like in my marriage, And I'd be interested to find out what you think.
Oh, that's a good question.
That looks like.
So you have to answer that.
So, yeah, well, I mean, I'll tell you what I think.
What does it look like? What does excellence look like to you in the context of our marriage?
Yeah. So I think it looks like, and given what we're talking about now, it looks like really, really being more intentional about the time we spend together. And I mean, not just saying that. So if we've committed to something, date nights or whatever it is, that the frequency of that, of doing those date nights or creating those moments, right, needs to happen. And I think if it's not happening, we need to address it very quickly before it then leaves us in another dry spell, or it causes frustration or whatever. So for me, that's one aspect of excellence. I think another is giving you the best version of myself in this year, and obviously going forward. I mean, I'm not just gonna try and be all excellent this year and then stop next year. So
it expires at the end of 2026.
It's then being okay. So what does that look like? It's maybe my physical health, mental health, my prayer life around the marriage, around my family, around you guys. So I want to be in top shape, in all aspects, mentally, physically, emotionally. So it's, again, taking the active steps to look after myself, So if it's getting the medical checkups, if it's reading the books that are going to help stimulate positive thoughts or creativity or whatever that looks like. So it's to a certain extent, I mean, I could go on, but to a certain extent, it's trying to put my best foot forward, trying to be the best version of myself, and just I guess committing to it. I've got a few other thoughts on it, but I'll circle back to it. But what do you think? What does excellence look like for you?
I think excellence in our marriage looks like us showing up as whole and balanced people for each other, for starters. So I think there's a lot of investment that needs to happen into yourself as an individual before you're trying to invest in the unit. So like for single people who want to get married, instead of spending time, how they say, stop looking for Mr. Right and focus on becoming the Mrs. Right. So are you a well-balanced individual? Mentally, socially, emotionally, that kind of thing. So for me, what that has looked like in this year is being a better version of myself. So I've started exercising regularly, because I want to be fitter. So I have more energy to do stuff, not just like with kids, but like with you as well. Going back to therapy, going back into like reading, going back into hobbies, picking up hobbies that I enjoy and things that feed into myself. And as a result, excellence in our marriage looks like, me being less bogged down, less stressed, less anxious, and showing up the way I'm supposed to for every aspect of my life. So if that's at work I'm focused, I'm productive, I'm doing everything I need to do, I'm executing accurately. And then if it's us, we're spending active time together, we're having fun together, we're sharpening each other, we are reminding each other of things that we said we were going to do, we're holding each other accountable, we're having fun together, we're laughing together, our sex life is thriving. I've always enjoyed spending time with you, but like I'm actively carving out time to spend time nurturing our friendship. And then, of course, then showing up well in other aspects, like with the kids and family and all that kind of stuff. So for me, excellence in our marriage also means we're in a position to help other people.
Yeah.
And not feeling like a fraud. That is the biggest reason why we do premarital counseling, because it holds us accountable. Because I don't want to sit there and talk to young couples about, no, okay, you must invest in your relationship when I am not investing in my relationship. Yeah. I don't ever want to be a hypocrite. So I don't ever want to be instructing people to do things that I don't do. So I want to walk the walk as much as I talk the talk. So for me, it means that I can teach other couples to do all these things, knowing full well I'm doing it myself. You know, we talk about how your marriage must be based on God and how the Holy Spirit is an active member of your marriage. And, you know, being in constant communion with Him as a couple, and how that I want to live that. That's what excellence looks like to me, where I'm living the life that I am preaching.
And it's a daily thing, you know what I mean? I think, you know, and I think I've been reading or listening to a lot of different conversations around, not necessarily around excellence, but I think around kind of the image you portray when you're outside your home and how you want people to perceive you versus how you actually are. So, you know, you maybe you dress a certain way and people think that you look organized and this and that, but yet your house is in a mess. You know what I mean? Remember, I think we were actually talking about it during this date night. That aspect of, okay, if people come to your house, you know, what do they see? Because yes, you maybe meet them at work or in different social settings, and they perceive you to be a certain way, but meanwhile your life is in shambles, you know. But and you've got this facade or you've got this mask on, and I think that's something that I actively want to try and work on, at least in terms of just, look, I think I'm for the most part very genuine in all my interactions, but I think the excellence then also starts from home.
And being consistently, you know, you get up, like I look at trying to, you know how I am with trying to, you know, fold my clothes, try and make sure, okay, is our bedroom in order? Okay, the next aspect, okay, the rest of the house, okay, the garden, or, you know, our vehicles, whatever. You know what I mean? It can't just be selective excellence, or you switch it on and switch it off whenever you want. Or you're portraying excellence to people out there.
Yeah, but meanwhile...
But behind closed doors.
Yeah, there's chaos, because I think...
Yeah, like you're missing that strawberry. How many times did you miss that?
Strawberry is a very difficult thing to catch.
Like even the grapes, you look at that anyway. In terms of relationships, so this is the other thing when it comes to relationships online, right? Of course, I 100% agree that don't believe everything you see online, because we've seen a lot of couples goals of people that we see online, and unfortunately what's behind the scenes isn't a good reflection of what that is. I never want to be that person. So that's also excellence for me. I don't want to be that person where, like, look at us, we're doing our cheese boards, we look happy, but we're in shambles. Which is why I think it's also important to portray and be honest about the challenges as well. I don't ever want to give the impression that our marriage is perfect. It's far from it. We're two imperfect people just trying to make it work the best way we can. But this is why we also share the not so nice parts. Actually, speaking of not so nice parts, this is us cleaning up after date night. This is people never show this. People never show this. You must clean up. But these are the realities, you know. And you know, don't idolize people you see online, because you never know what's happening behind closed doors. But for me, I think as couples, strive to be the people you portray. You know, I don't want us to portray as a couple who's always in love and have everything figured out, because we don't. You know, we're making it up as we go along, just like everyone else, and just hoping for the best. But it's not easy sometimes, and we go through slumps, like what was happening during this season. You know, when we decided that, okay, you know what? Okay, so actually to talk about this date night, so we had a conversation. Back to how we try to get out of it. We had a conversation where I had to be honest to say, look, I'm not feeling the emotional connection. As a result, the physical for me is not happening. Like, I don't feel it. I don't feel the urge. And we had a conversation and we said, okay, you know what, let's do a date night. And on this date night, you know, we spent time really talking. We spent time fulfilling the emotional.
Filling that cup, the emotional
cup. Because for me, and I don't want to make it seem like all women are the same or all men are the same. But for a lot of women that I've spoken to, the physical comes after the emotional. So we can't talk to each other like rubbish the whole day, and then at 9 p.m. you're trying to get closer to me. It doesn't work that way, you know. So for me, we came up with a strategy to fill the emotional cup. So we planned this date night and we said we're not using our phones, we're not doing anything, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to go out to a fancy restaurant, you don't have to do anything. Let's do something at home and let's focus on reconnecting. And on this night in particular, we took sex off the table. I think there was spoiler alert, none of that happened here on this particular night, because our focus was on the emotional and talking and having real conversations and, you know, having fun together and just spending quality time together. And that helped a lot. I don't know, did it make a difference for you? For me, this was excellent. It helped me a lot. But what was it like? I
think it did, because it helped for me to have that realization and kind of kickstart things or reignite things, as you know, as it were. I think for me, just going back to just something that came to mind, and I don't want to forget about it again, is the worry of burnout when you're striving for excellence. So for me, I was just thinking about how I want to push myself to be really good in all aspects. So even in the relationship context, like, you know, striving to make sure that, you know, we are creating that time and not doing it begrudgingly or doing it because it's to tick a box. So I was a bit worried at the beginning of the year when I kind of set out the things, excellence and everything, you know, cautious of the fact, or conscious of the fact rather, that burnout can happen when you're trying to push yourself too hard. So still finding that balance. And for me, then balance also looks like making sure that even in the time that we carve out, it's not, like I said, not doing it to tick a box, but actively,
like, okay, there's your quality time,
there's your date, you know, doing it and actively being involved
and putting your heart into it.
So that's
being vulnerable.
That for me was or is kind of like an eye opener in this season that we're in. And I think this night was good, because I think obviously we've said, or at least we're trying to, not trying to, I think I'm striving towards every Friday night or every second Friday night. Karaoke.
Oh, we're doing karaoke. Oh yeah, so we did a 2-man karaoke.
This was interesting.
Yeah.
And actually, so now the once every 2 weeks thing that we're trying to do, obviously the next date night will be mine, and then I have to come up with something that we do together and we have fun and this and that. And I think the karaoke, oh my word, in my vest, they call it a wife beater. I don't know why they call it a wife beater, guys. I think it's the worst name ever, but it's a nice vest.
Anyway, so guys, look, I think we'll have to continue this topic another time. We've come to the end of this video.
Yeah, there was lots to share.
We had so much to share. I think we need to start a podcast. What do you guys think? Should we start a podcast? Let me know in the comment section below. But I feel we haven't fully exhausted this topic. But if you want us to continue, just let me know in the comment section below. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.